You're walking down the street, minding your own business, when suddenly you notice two people laughing. They glance in your direction. Your heart starts racing, your face flushes, and your mind spirals into a whirlwind of questions. Are they laughing at me? Is there something wrong with my outfit? Did I do something weird? If this has ever happened to you, take a deep breath. You're not alone. Worrying about what others think is one of the most common sources of emotional pain. We spend hours overanalyzing conversations, dissecting glances, and interpreting comments, often convinced that we're being judged 24/7. But what if I told you that other people's opinions have no real power over you, unless you give it to them? In today's world, where social media amplifies every word, every image, and every like, this fear of judgment has become even more intense. We chase likes, approval, and recognition, terrified of rejection and criticism. But this constant need for external validation comes at a cost: our emotional freedom. The good news? There's a way out of this cycle, a path that philosophers discovered over 2,000 years ago. Stoicism is a practical philosophy that teaches us how to control our emotions, strengthen our minds, and let go of what we can't control, including what others think of us. In this video, you'll learn 3 fundamental principles of Stoicism that will help you stop suffering over other people's opinions. You'll discover how history's greatest thinkers handled criticism and rejection, and more importantly, how you can apply these lessons to your own life in a practical way. So, if you're tired of living as a prisoner to other people's thoughts, stick with me until the end. In the next chapter, we'll explore why the need for validation is so powerful and how it affects your relationships. The problem. Why do we care so much about what others think? Worrying about what others think of you isn't just a bad habit. It's an instinct rooted in thousands of years of evolution. Our ancestors lived in tribes, and being accepted by the group was a matter of survival. Being excluded meant facing predators alone, losing access to food and shelter, and, often, death. Over time, this need for acceptance became deeply ingrained in our brains. Today, no one's going to be chased by a saber-toothed tiger for being unpopular, but the sting of rejection still triggers the same fear and anxiety our ancestors felt. But what if this once essential instinct is now holding you hostage? Modern society and the culture of validation. If acceptance was once about survival, today it's become an endless quest for approval. Social media, unattainable standards set by the media, and the constant exposure to other people's lives make us feel like we need to meet expectations 24/7. How many times have you posted something and anxiously waited for likes? Have you ever deleted a comment because you were afraid of what others might think? Or held back your opinion in a conversation to avoid judgment? The truth is, without even realizing it, many of our daily decisions are shaped by the desire to be accepted. And it's not just about social media. It happens in relationships, at work, even in the way we dress. The problem is, living this way comes at a price: anxiety, low self-esteem, and emotional dependency. When you prioritize others' opinions over what you truly want, you stop living your life and start living the life others approve of. The cost of external validation. Let's imagine a scenario. Suppose you're in a relationship and constantly need to hear that you're loved. If your partner goes a day without complimenting you, your mind starts spinning. Do they still like me? Did I do something wrong? Now, imagine the opposite. You're fully confident in yourself and know your worth doesn't depend on others' words. If your partner doesn't give you a compliment today, it's okay. You don't need it to feel good about yourself. That's the difference between being a prisoner of others' opinions and being emotionally free. To illustrate this, let's look at the life of Marcus Aurelius, one of Rome's greatest emperors and one of the most respected Stoic philosophers. Even as a ruler, he knew he could never please everyone. There were critics, rivals, and envious people everywhere. In his personal journal, which later became the book Meditations, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, Marcus Aurelius understood something many of us still struggle to accept. We can't control what others think of us, but we can control how we react to it. And that's exactly what Stoicism teaches us. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into this philosophy and explore how it can be the key to your emotional freedom. Stoic philosophy and its relevance to personal relationships. If you've ever felt like your happiness depends on others' acceptance, know that Stoic philosophers faced the same dilemma over 2,000 years ago. They realized that human suffering doesn't come from external circumstances, but from how we react to them. And when it comes to relationships and social interactions, this lesson is more valuable than ever. Stoicism is a practical philosophy that originated in ancient Greece and was widely adopted by the Romans. Its main goal is to teach us how to live with resilience, wisdom, and emotional stability, no matter what happens around us. But how does this apply to personal relationships? Stoicism as a shield against emotional dependency. In a world where we constantly seek approval and recognition, the Stoics teach that the only thing we truly control is our own mind and actions. This means others' opinions shouldn't have the power to affect us, unless we allow it. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "We worry too much about what others think, forgetting that their opinions don't define who we are." This idea is liberating. It means you don't have to lose sleep over what someone said about you, an unanswered message, or a disapproving look. Others' judgments can't hurt your self-esteem unless you give them importance. Philosophy in practice. The art of not reacting. One of the most valuable Stoic exercises is the art of not reacting emotionally to insults or criticism. Instead of responding impulsively, the Stoics trained their minds to evaluate situations logically. Does this opinion change my reality? Is this criticism valid, and can it help me grow? Will this matter in a month or a year? When you adopt this perspective, you start to see that many of your social worries are irrelevant. You gain emotional autonomy and stop depending on external approval. Now that we understand why Stoicism is so powerful for our relationships, let's explore 3 fundamental Stoic principles that can transform how you handle criticism, rejection, and judgment. 3 Stoic principles to free yourself from others' opinions. Have you ever stopped to think about how many decisions in your life were shaped by worrying about what others might think? Maybe you avoided posting something out of fear of judgment, or stayed silent in a conversation to avoid disagreement, or even stayed in a bad relationship because you didn't want to deal with others' criticism. The truth is, many people live more to please others than to please themselves. And the worst part? They don't even realize it. The Stoics understood this dilemma centuries ago. They developed strategies to shield the mind from excessive worry, allowing them to live authentically and emotionally free. Here are 3 essential principles of this philosophy that can change how you see others' opinions. 1. You only control part of the story. The rest isn't your problem. Imagine you're walking down the street, and someone gives you a strange look. Your brain goes on high alert. Is there something wrong with me? Is my outfit weird? Did I do something strange? Now, stop and think. Are you sure that look was a judgment? Maybe that person was distracted, lost in their own thoughts. Maybe they didn't even notice you. The Stoics called this idea the dichotomy of control. Simply put, some things are within your control and others aren't, and it's pointless to suffer over what you can't change. Whether someone likes you or not, whether they praise or criticize you, whether they accept or reject you, none of that is truly within your control. What you can control is how you react to it. How can you apply this in your life? The next time a criticism or a sideways glance bothers you, ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, let it go. This simple shift in mindset can drastically reduce your social anxiety. 2. Life shouldn't be a fight against reality. Accept what is and move forward. Have you noticed how much energy we waste trying to change what's already happened? We replay old conversations, thinking about what we could have said differently. We suffer because someone didn't treat us the way we wanted. We wish the people around us were different. But Stoicism teaches something radically liberating. Stop resisting reality. This principle, called a more fatty love of fate, invites us to accept things as they are, rather than wishing they were different. If someone criticizes you or doesn't value you, that's part of reality. There's no use fighting it mentally. Acceptance is the path to peace. Turning rejection into freedom. Instead of asking, why did this person treat me this way? Ask a more useful question. What can I learn from this, and how can I move forward? Accepting that not everyone will like you, and that's okay, is one of the most powerful steps to freeing yourself from the need for approval. 3. If today were your last day, would this opinion still matter? Now, close your eyes for a moment and imagine. What if you only had 1 week left to live? Would you still waste time worrying about what others think of you? Probably not. The Stoics practiced a principle called memento mori, which means remember that you will die. Not to instill fear, but to remind us of what truly matters. Most of our social worries are irrelevant in the grand scheme of life. The fear of rejection, criticism, or disapproval paralyzes us, but in the end, these things don't carry the weight we imagine. The question that can change your life. The next time you catch yourself worrying about someone's opinion, try this exercise. Imagine yourself in the future, looking back. Will this situation still matter to you? In most cases, the answer will be a resounding no. These 3 Stoic principles aren't just abstract ideas. They're practical tools you can use daily to free yourself emotionally. In the next chapter, we'll explore exercises and strategies to put all of this into practice and strengthen your mindset. How to train your mind to stop caring about others' opinions. Knowing that others' opinions shouldn't affect you is one thing, but actually living that way is a whole different story. If it were easy to turn off this mental trigger, you would have done it by now, right? The problem is that the need for validation is so deeply ingrained that it's become an automatic reflex. Your brain has learned to seek approval to feel safe. The good news? This reflex can be reprogrammed. And like any mental shift, it takes practice. Here are 3 Stoic techniques that will help strengthen your mindset and free you from excessive worry about others' opinions. Turn thoughts into words. The power of writing. If you've ever spent sleepless nights overthinking something someone said about you, you know how our minds can turn small situations into giant monsters. Now, try putting those thoughts on paper. Something magical happens. What once seemed huge is now right in front of you, clear and concrete. Often, you'll realize the worry was exaggerated. Try this exercise. Whenever you feel affected by someone's opinion, write down. What exactly was said or done? Does this objectively affect my life? How would a Stoic handle this situation? Writing organizes your thoughts and teaches you to see problems rationally, not emotionally. Embrace embarrassment. It's your best teacher. Let's be honest. A big part of your worry about others' opinions comes from the fear of looking foolish. But what if you decided, on purpose, to do something you find embarrassing? Yes, it sounds crazy. But the Stoics practiced exactly this to become more resilient to judgment. They dressed simply in luxurious settings, asked silly questions in public, and even pretended not to know obvious things, all to prove to themselves that shame is a fleeting illusion. Try this. Speak in public with an exaggeratedly low or high voice. Wear an outfit completely outside your usual style. Walk into a coffee shop and ask if they sell tires. By the end of this exercise, you'll realize something liberating. No one cares as much as you think they do. Change your relationship with criticism. Not all of it deserves your attention. Someone's opinion of you can be either a learning opportunity or mental garbage to be ignored. The problem is, we often treat every criticism as personal. The Stoics had a simple method for handling this. Evaluate where the criticism is coming from before reacting. Ask yourself, is this criticism true? If so, how can I learn from it? Does this person have the credibility to judge me? If not, why listen? Does this really matter in my life? If not, let it go. Remember, if someone attacks you without reason, the problem isn't you, it's them. Not every comment deserves your energy. The key is daily practice. None of these strategies will change your mind overnight. But if you start applying them, little by little, you'll notice yourself growing stronger. You'll stop wasting time trying to please everyone. You'll make decisions without fear of judgment. You'll live more lightly and authentically. So, now that you've learned these powerful lessons, remember, the real secret to freeing yourself from the chains of others' opinions lies in taking control of your own mind. If these ideas resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos full of insights on how to apply Stoicism in your daily life. And I want to hear from you. Which of these lessons will you apply first? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to see how you'll put this into practice. Don't forget to check out the next video on the screen right now for even deeper tips. Thanks for watching. and I'll see you in the next one.